Hello! So today I want to make Dragonite. The big, pudgy, lovable boy. So I'm taking inspiration from these for, or I'm taking inspiration for these for the video, like, I did with Vulpixie. Like, people put in their favorite Pokemon, so I went ahead and Lilligant was in here, and now I'm gonna go do Dragonite. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do Dragonite as a player, so 300 points. This does mean that I might have to make a few cuts here and there for the sake of, might have to min-max a little bit, because Dragonite is really big, really strong, has a bunch of stat points, and I'm not quite sure how, well, I've got some ideas on how I'm going to live up to that, even though I'm kind of limiting myself to a player level, but it's just... the power fantasy, I want to make sure the power fantasy is maintained there. And all of his resistances kind of eat up a ton of points already. Because he's got 4 resistances here that are 25%, a 50% resistance, and then a 75% resistance, which is basically how I'm treating immunity like. Let's turn that down just a smidge. Actually, maybe just a bit more. Just realized I didn't check my audio before I started this. Oh dear, I hope it's working out okay. If it's not, oh well, I've got my audio sources set up to go to different lines in the editor, so I can just go ahead and change them individually. If anybody happens to stumble into the stream, though, that'll be a problem for them. And then, so in addition to the resistances he has from, being dragon and flying, he also has some complications. And each one of them is giving him 5 points, and then the ice weakness is giving him 10, because it's a quadruple weakness, which is a double damage here. So then I've gone ahead and I've given him 25 extra experience points for these complications. Like I said in the Lilligant video, that's not typically how complications are meant to be used. Complications in Hero System are meant to be used more like, oh, you have 300 character points with 30 matching complications, then you only have 270 character points until you take 30 points worth of complications. So technically Dragonite should only have 295, but that's just not how I'm playing with it. Because whenever I end up making a character, I always want a few extra points, so I kind of gave into the temptation there. So, big, bulky Dragonite. Let's just start with the stats, shall we? So, hefty attack stat, and really good bulk, little bit slow. So I'll just go ahead and leave him at the base 10 dex. That'll be one of my first little cuts there to help let him be super strong in other areas. And then for good defense, he needs to have... Oh, I forgot abilities. Which I would want to... dang it. I would want to ignore that and actually carry on to do that later. But one of the abilities actually... Yep, inner focus and then multi-scale. Okay, so is there a good way to do multi-scale here? Because it just reduced damage when HP is full. Not reduce the amount of HP taken from moves that deal direct damage. Okay, well, so the first thing I'm going to do is... Let's see, in the automaton powers. So the automaton powers are sort of like how you would make a robot or a zombie. Specifically in that they cannot be stunned. This goes down a couple other layers, like they can't take stun at all, and then they just lose abilities and powers as they take damage as they take body damage. They just don't even have a stun bar, they just have body, and they're at full capacity until, they're dead. I guess sort of like a typical TTRPG where the only hit point that matters is the last one. But, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up inner focus, and that's cannot be stunned. Being stunned is sort of this game's equivalent to flinch. If you take more damage than you have constitution, you get stunned and you lose your next turn. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and leave constitution at the base level as well. And then for multi-scale, I will leave that and see what we have, because inner focus is already pretty powerful and a little bit costly for an ability. I normally like to put abilities around the 5 to 10 point range, with 15 being like the best of the best. So inner focus is probably the one that I make consistently that is like really, really good. And it's really, really helped my players out a lot sometimes. Not being able to be stunned when somebody just pile drives you into the concrete is really effective, honestly. So we have 134 attacks. This is a massive attack. I'm just going to go ahead and put him at like 35 points. So this means that just right off the bat, if he just slugs you without doing like a special martial arts maneuver to boost his damage or a move, he's doing 7d6 of damage. The minimum damage I've got for the campaign is 66, so he's already very hefty. Intelligence, I'm going to go ahead and leave alone. Ego, I'll leave alone. But he's a big friend, so I'll go ahead and put presence up a few points. OCV and DCV, I'll just leave these alone for now. I've already got generally where I want them for the campaign, and then I just throw them on throw on little bits here and there for other characters. Speed, again, he's not super fast, so I'm just gonna leave the speed at base. He's not super slow either, so I'm not taking anything off. PD and ED. He is not the most tankiest, but he is still generally pretty bulky. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm making this for a campaign, I think, not a one-shot. So I'm not gonna be like maxing stuff out. I'm just going to be putting stuff at the soft cap. So actually, I'll go ahead and first I'll start with resistant protection. This is for like guns and bullets and stuff like that. Maybe big, nasty claw attacks. And I'm going to go ahead and put him at the maximum resistant protection for elemental defense, and then a little bit lower for physical defense, because his physical defense is just a little lower there. And I could make it 11, but, you know, that costs, it's 2 points, or sorry, it is 3 points to buy 2 points. So that wastes a point if I put it up to 11, so that's why it's going there. And then the characteristics, I'll go ahead and put his elemental defense at the soft cap, I think. So that's like 25 maximum. With a little bit of variation here and there. If I have like some Pokemon with lower resistant elemental defense, I may pump the regular elemental or energy defense. This is energy defense. I keep calling it elemental defense because like special attacks in my brain are elemental attacks. So it's just clicked that way, basically. So, yeah. 23 PD overall with 10 of it being resistant. 25 ED overall with 12 of it being resistant. Pretty tanky boy. For comparison, if you look in like the street level hero books, a 50 caliber sniper rifle is 3d6. So unless you were using hit locations and like he got hit in the head, he could just completely eat a some sort of energy based 50 caliber. So he is pretty strong. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give him a good few points of recovery. We'll leave endurance a little low. Actually, we'll go ahead and put that up there. Endurance is cheap, so I always like to put it high. And then he's got nice beefy HP, so I'm going to go ahead and put him at 14 for that, and we'll go to about 30. 30 is where I put things that are kind of beefy. Honestly, I haven't come up with where I want like the hard and soft cap of HP to be, and I really should do that. Running, normally I put that up to 20, but for Dragonite, I've got something else in mind, which we'll go ahead and do that now, actually. Because, you know, he's got little flappy wings, and he flies really fast, I'm pretty sure. Is there anything in here about how fast it flies? I just saw the little thing where he's a mail carrier, and he just, like, flies halfway around the world. And manages to, like, make it there before, he starts while the sun is setting and manages to make it there before it completely sets, going from Paldea to Kanto. So he's got to be pretty quick, at least. Capable of flying faster than the speed of sound. Able to circle the glow in 16 hours. Okay. How exact do I want to do this? There is literally a ratio here that I could use to calculate out how fast this thing goes. And I could do that. I'm really tempted. You know what? I'll go ahead and do it. Let's see. Got the book right here. Where's my characteristics page? That's my skills chapter. Where's the characteristics? Speed. Nope. There we go. Because I know it's got a thing in the... somewhere here in characteristics, it says like, hey, if you want to see how fast your character is in real life speed, here's how you do the math. And I've forgotten how to do the math, but that's okay because it's written down. Find strength. Is it here? Limiting endurance, changing. It's not in that chapter. What if I, like... Come on, Index, don't let me down. Do you have, like, real world speed? Realism? Yeah, because a player gave me a character a little while ago, and literally they had it set up, they had it marked off like, oh yeah, she can fly a little over Mach 2.3 if she's going full speed. Is it in non-combat movement? Is there a N? Non-targeting, non-persistent, non-combat movement. 155. If it's anywhere, that's a good place to look for it. Dang. I can even see, okay, so I'm looking at the non-combat page and they have somebody talking about how to, or talking about how fast the character is moving, but they don't have how to figure out the actual speed, which is a little annoying. Because I know it's in there. Okay, let's see. 340. Okay. So first of all, how fast? Come on, AI, this is your chance to show me you're not totally stupid. And this was meant to be 16 hours. Whoops. I've got a better idea. Okay. So 40,000 kilometers divided by 16. 2,500. Okay, so that's... How many times the speed of sound? I have a chemistry degree, I swear. I swear I can do math sometimes. Oh, that's only Mach 2? Interesting. Okay. So hero system, how to find real movement speed. Oh, did somebody make a calculator for it? Interesting. Unfortunately, the picture doesn't go anywhere near on that chart where I need it to. Oh, there we go. Okay, so... I'm doing this just to figure... Okay, well... Doing this just to figure out the maximum limit, but... First of all, it is pretty speedy in like straight line speed. So we're just going to go ahead and go up to 30 meters. This is relatively quickly. Like I said, I normally set movement speeds to like 20 meters. Oops. And then we're going to go ahead and put the non-combat speed higher. So Hero System has non-combat speed, which means that you're not focusing on the fight, you're sort of giving up your ability to dodge anything, but in exchange, you are moving twice as far. Or, well, typically you're moving twice as far. For 5 points, it increases that to ×4. Where's my calculator? Okay, so... kilometers per hour is... Okay, so I actually need to do a little bit of stoichiometry here. So we have kilometers per hour, so we need 2,500 divided by parentheses 0.3 times 3. Is this correct? Let's see. Just double checking my math a little bit because it looks correct, but because I want the meters here, so this goes to the other side on the bottom. This goes to the other side on the bottom. Oh, hello. Yeah, so this is the hero designer for Hero System. It is a very, very helpful software. Well, I say helpful, but it's caused me a horrendous problem in that where I used to be able to throw a character together in like 20 minutes, now it'll take me like an hour, maybe 2, fiddling and fighting every little bit to get it absolutely perfectly where I want. And right now, I am trying to make Dragonite. So I'm trying to... I'm shooting between the middle of trying to make it like really good in the game, but then also getting it lore accurate. So I'm working out like the actual speed of trying to figure out. Apparently it can circle the world in 16 hours. Where was that here? Where is it? It's somewhere on this. Oh, yep, there it is. I was looking for a number, not words. Yeah. Fast enough to circle the globe in 16 hours, which is apparently Mach 2. So now I've done the math here to figure out how exactly I get it to there. So it needs... Oh, actually... 16. And actually... Okay, so... It's not quite there where it is, actually, but... Yeah, so technically to get it exactly there, it would have to be times 8, or it'd have to be times 10 non-combat. Yeah. So basically this system has combat movement and non-combat movement. Where combat movement is you've got all your normal bonuses and your normal additions and everything. Like your normal chance to dodge, you've got your normal chance to hit, and if you only move half of your total distance, then you're still able to act and fully attack on your turn. If you go into non-combat movement, you typically get up to double your normal movement. Dragonite here has times 8 on its flight instead of double, but you completely give up your ability to attack at all, and you lose a bunch of your dodge bonus and stuff. Abstract journey system. I'm not sure what that is. What is an abstract journey system? Oh, okay. Yeah, basically this non-combat would just... It would never actually probably be used in game... Well, theoretically it could be used in gameplay if, like... Oh no, my friend is down and I need to go help them, then you could non-combat move across the entire field. Basically whenever you wanted to, but then that's giving you the problem of, like... Oh, you're way easier to hit. So then let's see. Yeah, and this has already used up a lot of Dragonite's points, unfortunately. This Dragonite might only have 3 moves, but we'll see how it shakes out. Because between his heavy attack and then having like all of his type resistances, he's quite a beefy boy already. So he doesn't really need a whole lot to be effective. I think, actually, what I'm going to do, since he's got so much strength, a good thing to do here, just as an early little bit, releasing the project on free on Patreon. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Normally whenever I'm running campaigns, though, I normally run them in like a single location, or at least like a single spot, and then like a single city is how most of my campaigns have been run. I've kind of looked at like traveling campaigns, but I haven't done anything with them yet. But that does sound like a useful tool for people who do like more exploratory, maybe even hex grid campaigns kind of deal. Let's see. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to martial arts, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a hand-to-hand attack, just so that he's got something to use. Like, because like I said, I don't have a whole lot of points for powers, so I want to give him something that, like, I mean, he's got 7d6 of strength damage. It's not going to take much to make him really, really strong. So I think it's offensive strike. Yeah, offensive strike makes you a little bit harder to hit, but it gives you a pretty hefty damage boost. And you know what? What should we call this? We're going to flavor this as Slam. It even works because Slam has an accuracy penalty and this has an accuracy penalty. And then we'll just go ahead and give him... Normally you're supposed to buy at least 10 points of martial arts, but I'm kind of wavering on whether to hold to that rule for the Pokemon stuff I've been doing, because I've already broken so many other rules to twist it into however I want it. Dragon Tail is the move that, like, forces them to swap out, right? Because I'm thinking we give him a leg sweep. So leg sweep is where you normally, like, lash out at somebody, trip them up, and knock them over. And we're just going to set this up as Dragon Tail. So it's not actually, forcing a swap, but, you're knocking somebody over and you're doing a little bit of damage on the side. And then on top of that, we'll just give him basic fast strike, 9d6. Not as strong as the offensive strike, but this one has an accuracy bonus instead of an accuracy penalty. And now we have 100 points left for attacks. What is Dragon Rush? Just a really strong attack that... Oh, is this basically Dragon type Body Slam? Oh, thank you, Frankto. We'll put that right here. So, or was I? Dragon Rush. Really strong physical attack. So I'm going to go ahead and flavor this as a hand-to-hand attack. So hand-to-hand attacks just sort of add to your damage bonus. It was already at 7, so I'm just going to make it 5. It also allows you to add modifiers, which modifiers change how powers work to let you specialize them and make them work better in certain situations or worse in others. So since this is a Pokemon campaign, I'm adding charges, which is basically power points. And Dragon Rush doesn't have a whole lot. No, it's only got 10, so I'll just go ahead and put that as a 6. And you know what? Just to make it extra brutal, we're going to go ahead and put Armor Piercing on there. This means that only half of the enemy's defense counts against it. So this attack is at the cap for damage that I've got for the campaign, and then only half of the target's defense counts for it. So it's going to be hitting really, really hard. But it's also a reduced accuracy move. So let me see. There is a reduced accuracy. Oh, yep, inaccurate. There it is. 1/2 OCV. Yeah, let's go for that. So now it's got a lower chance to hit, but in return, it is an armor piercing attack that will absolutely do a ton of damage. And it only costs 14 points, which is good. Oh, and gotta remember, so now by putting that in the notes, it means that the system's automation will automatically be like, oh, hey, this thing has a vulnerability to dragon type attacks, and this thing says dragon in its notes. This probably works together. What else? Oh, and then on the other hand, we're gonna go ahead and do outrage, I think. Hand-to-hand damage. Versus physical defense. So what outrage does here? Well, what outrage does is it locks you into it for 2 to 3 turns and it confuses you. So we're gonna give it relatively few charges again because it's only got the 10. And this makes it a lot cheaper, so we've got much better chance of reaching that 4 moves, or honestly probably surpassing it because I end up surpassing it a lot. And we'll go ahead and give it an extra stun multiplier. Because the way killing attacks work, they generally don't do as much stun damage, and this will help overcome that a little bit. And then since it's hitting... Is it hitting everything? Or is it just attacking at random, right? In a double battle, I mean. User selects itself, but hits an adjacent Pokemon that's selected at random. Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to make it an area of effect with a radius, so it's just literally thrashing around, hitting everything within 4 meters of itself whenever it uses this move. So basically sort of like fly in, drop in the middle of a bunch of dudes, and then just unleash the outrage. But we're going to give it the lockout. Yeah, power with this limitation prevents the character from using some or all of his other powers when it's in use. So once you're in, you're locked in. And I'm not gonna... Yeah, Hero System doesn't really have an easy mechanism for, like, this attack will hurt you after you use it. So I'm just not going to calculate for, like, the confusion afterwards, I think. So we've got 2 really strong attacks. And now I like to give Pokemon a little bit of a what's a good phrase? Special utility here. Oh. Agility would be really good since this thing isn't particularly fast. So we're going to go to Aid, which is this is how you boost characteristics in this system. And I want to boost Speed and Dexterity. Speed is how many turns you get. Dexterity is when you get to go within those turns. And I typically put Dexterity at a 4, I think. Expanded effect, this boosts 2 things. So it gets this modifier on there. Limitations, charges. Let's see, agility. Oh yeah, a lot of charges, so I'll go ahead and just put this at a 12. Oh, and then only to aid self. So he can't boost other people's speed with this, but he's boosted himself quite a bit. Oh, I forgot to put the dragon down. Attack. And this is a psychic move. Okay, so let's see. Got a couple dragon moves, got some utility. We'll go ahead and throw Thunder Wave on here, because most Dragonite I think I've fought had Thunder Wave. And that's sort of basically it's exactly the opposite of how we're doing agility. We're just going to make a drain, which is exactly the opposite of an aid. It's going to drain speed and dex. Expanded effect, because it's hitting 2 things. Charges, we'll go for like 16 charges. Anything else I want to include? Nah. And we'll go ahead and make this a fairly powerful Thunder Wave. So he's got a way to make himself faster. He's got a way to make enemies slower, both where they're going in dexterity, and if he hits them hard enough to actually like make them have less turns per turn. And he can use this multiple times, by the way. This isn't like Pokemon where it only hits once, where it's, you know, you get paralyzed and it just goes once. You can drain someone's speed and dexterity until it is 0. And then certain penalties start kicking in where, like, at 0 dex, you have to start rolling a dex check to even get your turn at all. And that's rolling the dex check at the modified number. So, like, normally Dragonite's dex is rolling an 11 or less. It would be potentially as low as a 9 or less, which is like a 30% chance of success, 40% chance. It's not good. Yeah, it'd be a 40% chance because 10 or less is 50-50, 11 or less is like 60-40, so 9 or less would be 40-60. We've got like 16 more points, so what else do we want here is like maybe a little coverage, because we got the utility down. I think another alternative would have been to give himself Roost, which would be pretty useful, especially with how tanky I've made him. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was going to give him multi-scale, right. Let's go ahead and just do multi-scale really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and give him damage reduction, multi-scale. And I think regularly multi-scale is like a 50% damage reduction, but we're just going to go ahead and make this a 25% damage reduction. Because this does scale with all of these, and I don't want them to go out of control totally. But then we're going to put the conditional power modifier, meaning that it's not taking effect the entire time. Does not work in... I'll say that it's extremely common that a Pokemon has less than one body. So it's getting this nice chunk taken off of it, this -1.5 multiplier. So only when Dragonite has full body. Actually, I think that might be a little bit strong. We'll go ahead and... there we go, the -1. So it's effectively going to be half off. So the first hit, well, really any hit, so long as it has full body, is going to do 25% less damage. So anybody who's attacking this guy is really going to want to hit him with something that does any kind of body damage that he doesn't resist real quick. Actually, the way I've got this set up, Pokemon aren't really taking a whole lot of body damage in the first place. So I'll just go ahead and make it common, whatever. It takes a third off, makes it 10 points. And now we've got 6 points left. What do I want to do with that 6 points? Oh, you know what? We're going to go ahead in here, and we're going to give him Martial Grab, and we're going to make this Wrap. Because then basically what this does is, normally you've got like a -2 to try and grab somebody, if you're just doing the normal grab maneuver. Make it a Martial Grab means that's only a -1, and then it also boosts your strength by apparently 10 points for holding on. So that's quite handy to have. Now I got 3 points left. You know what? He's a big, beefy boy. He is nearly 500 pounds. So, where's knockback resistance? There it is. So we're just gonna, he's really big and beefy, so we're just gonna make him really hard to move back and push around. And let's see, we have 3 points left, so we'll go ahead and do that. And there we go. So that is Dragonite made as a player character. I might, if I was making this for an actual game, I would probably go through here and tweak a few things. Maybe make Thunderwave a little bit weaker so I could like squeeze in a Thunder Punch or Fire Punch. The output, so it depends on how you're outputting it. If I'm putting it into, let me see here real quick. Got it in my files here. Computer, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, so if I put it into my virtual tabletop, this is what it turns the output into. Is this showing up? And it is. Good. Yeah, this is what the output goes into if I put it into my virtual tabletop. I've got the little tabs up top for like your attack powers, your defensive powers, movement powers, your martial arts abilities. They've all got their own little tabs. Oh, I forgot skills for Dragonite. Whoops. Okay. That's something I forgot. And then on the side, you've got like your endurance, your body, your stun. Body, when this hits negative, whatever its maximum is, you're dead. Yeah, body and stun are your hit points. Endurance is what it costs you to move around and to attack normally. Most systems, well, for most games that you would make for these characters, you wouldn't be using power points for literally everything, and endurance is much more useful. I've actually had a couple of fights come down to one character is out of endurance, the other character still has endurance. If you're out of endurance, you have to spend stun, which is your keeps you aware and conscious in the fight stat. So you do not want stun to be 0. So it just came down to like the two big, tanky, super strong guys punching each other in the face until one guy ran out of endurance, and then that just absolutely fucked him over. Let's see. And then do I have a screenshot? Oh. So this is what the normal character sheet for doing Hero System in person looks like, at least the front of the sheet. And then this is the back of the sheet. So the front is sort of, this is where all of like the useful numbers end up. And then a lot of the reasoning for those numbers is all on the back. And then output to an NPC profile. Not sure I know 100% what you mean. There is a PDF output for the program, if that's what you mean. I'm looking for another screenshot because I'm pretty sure I have one in here. I might just have to save it as a PDF real quick. A character sheet and an NPC sheet. Oh, no, this doesn't really have that. Basically, I just sort of make slightly more simple characters for use as NPCs. Export. There we go. Export to file. I actually lost the typical PDF output for this, and I'm using one that I downloaded off of the Hero website. Oh dear, where? Wow, that just completely went to a totally separate part of my computer then. That is not... Okay, but where's my C drive? It might export to a JSON. If there is a way to make it export to a JSON. I forget though. I was getting tech support from a guy and he had me export stuff as a JSON, but I forget how I did it now. I think I had to like actually go into the file from like the other side using the oh yes, Foundry uses JSON. Yeah, he had me give him the JSON file for the Hero Designer and the JSON file for the Foundry. Documents. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, no. Okay, and then... Oh, there we go. Yeah, so then this is the PDF that I've got downloaded. A little bit prettier than the default one, and actually there were two default ones, and I completely lost them somewhere on my computer. So they're in there, but I'm not sure you really want me to search around for them to show them off. So before I finish up here, I need to actually go back. I'm going to go ahead and make Thunderwave a little bit weaker. And we're going to make Agility a little... Actually, that already took off 15 points. So that should be good. Okay, so skills. This is how you do like bomb defusal, stealth, fixing up a motorbike, you know, all that stuff. We're going to go ahead and do acrobatics, because you can do stuff while you're flying with acrobatics. And then also it gives you the ability to not fall out of the sky if you get hit too hard. He is a big friend, so he's going to have charm. And you know what? We'll go ahead and give him combat piloting too, just because like if he gets into like fighting somebody while he's flying around, you know, I might have him do a couple combat piloting. Oh, no, because that's for specifically flying stuff. That is not yourself. And we already have acrobatics to do that. So, well, I say that. Hero System has complementary skills. And what that means is like you would roll the combat piloting first. And then assuming it succeeded, let's say you got an 8 and you needed to get the 11 or less. Well, then that means you succeeded by 5, and that gives you that gives you 2 bonus points to your next acrobatics roll. So then basically that just gives all the better chance of succeeding at the acrobatics really highly. Did my screen just flash there for you guys, or is that a monitor problem? That's, that doesn't bode well, because I just had an issue with my other monitor. Well, it wasn't the other monitor, it was the cable, and then I had to order another cable, and I think that was literally like 2 months ago now, so it would really suck if that was happening all over again. Yuck. Let's see. Combat skill levels. These are bonus chance to dodge or chance to hit. They're also really expensive, and we've only got 6 points to work with right now. Actually, we've only got two good skills left. So I'll go ahead and give survival, because I just give survival to all Pokemon, basically, as sort of like a little base thing. And where does Dragonite typically live? I'm imagining like mountains and stuff, but I don't think that's quite correct. Where's the... Oh, there's a tab down here that's like, oh, it's found in this spot. It's found on this route. Probably scrolled past it. Because I can't just look at where it's found because it's on the pop-up player. Well, that's not good, because then that's telling me it's the cord again, which is going to be a pain in my ass. Oof, I don't want to have to fix that again. Oh well. This just happened to my other monitor. What was I looking for? Where he's found. And where he's found is nowhere, because you have to trade him or evolve him to get him. You know what? We're just going to say mountain. Mountain and ocean. Because I know Dratini lives out in the ocean. No, we've got... You know what? 2 points left. I'm going to go ahead and make agility a little bit weaker too. Just so we've got a little bit more to work with here. What other skill would be good for the big friend dragon? Yeah, I might have to take it out and try it. I'll take it and I'll put it onto the other monitor for a little bit after I'm done here and see if that causes it to flash or anything. I don't know. It was just the one flash. Hopefully it was just a single little hiccup. But we'll find out. I don't think Dragonite is particularly sciencey. I'm tempted to give him rapid attack, but that one's kind of... You know what? Yeah, this guy is a fighter. Oof, that's gonna take 5 points off, though. Where can I squeeze a couple little points out here? Because rapid attack is a really good fighting skill. Typically, if you want to do a multi-attack where you do multiple attacks in a turn, I don't know why I struggle to find a way to say it. It's in the name, multi-attack. Then you can't move because it eats your entire turn unless you pay this 10-point tax. But thinking about it, that's not super useful for him because he's got Outrage here, which, that locks him into the attack. So actually, we're going to go ahead and take that off because he can't really use it anyway with Outrage. I think instead, where's my knowledge skills? There we go. So I like to use knowledge skill as sort of the in-universe, like, hey, what Pokemon are my attacks strong against? What Pokemon is this attack good against? That kind of deal. So we're just going to make this knowledge of dragon. And yeah, we're just going to make this knowledge of dragon type. So he knows what dragons are weak to and what dragons are strong against. And then should there be something else that he knows about, say? I have 4 points left. Actually, would that 4 points be better served somewhere on here? You know what? Big beefy dragon, we're gonna go ahead and just pump his strength up a little bit. Well, not his strength, but his hit points a little bit. So now he's really bulky. He's got a ton of hit points relative to like where things normally are. These start at 10 and 20, so he's pretty tanky there. So I think that's probably the best spot to put him into. No, really strong, 2 really strong attacks that he can't just, continuously use these, but they are really strong attacks. And then when he's not using those, he's got the martial arts that feed off of the endurance to use instead. Which he's only got the 30 endurance. Actually, let's go ahead and drop that down and then give him an extra 5 endurance. There we go, because he's going to be relying on his martial arts a lot. Okay, how long have I been going? Only about an hour. So what about you, Frank? Do you have a Pokemon that you would like to see made in Hero System? I've been taking suggestions from a video that Machamp or Mewtwo. Okay. You know what? Let's make Mewtwo. I haven't made like a really big boss yet. I made a mini boss the other day of a Lilligant. So we're gonna make big boss Mewtwo here. So he's gonna have, so first things first. He's Mewtwo, not Mewtwo. Okay, so first things first. Since he's going to be a boss, he's going to have way more than 300 points a typical player character has. Honestly, he's a really big boss who could potentially fight off, like, 3 to 4 players at a time are supposed to be able to fight this guy and then potentially even win. So I'm going to give him more than double those points. We're going to go ahead and put him at 800. Let's see, we've got, his height is 2 meters and he is 127 kilograms. Eyes purple, right? Yeah, purple. Powers and tactics. Yeah, Mewtwo is one of my original favorites. I can remember as a little kid, after I got Mewtwo, I'd basically just keep running through the Elite Four with him and my starter. One or the other, like, wiping out everything before the champion, and then the other finishing the fight. Okay, and he is weak to... bug attacks? Yes, Mewtwo is in the newer games. They actually added, as recently as Gen 6, when they added Mega Pokemon, he got 2 different Mega forms. I have no idea how you find him in the newer games. I actually haven't played like since Gen 6, but I know I've seen pictures of him in the newer stuff. So I imagine he's got to be available somehow. Oh, actually, I think it. Yeah, there's a thing called Pokemon Home that is like a separate thing entirely from the game that you can upload your Pokemon into. And that started in Gen 6. So you probably can just move him through that to the latest game, I would assume. Yeah, so he is weak to these three, which are not in alphabetical order. I don't know why Bulbapedia doesn't have these in alphabetical order. There's something about the... I don't know, something about the way that's formatted just doesn't like it, I guess. So, the way I like to do type resistances is I just give damage reduction. For a single resistance, I give 25%. For a double resist, I give 50%. And then I've got this little conditional power limitation that says like, oh, it only kicks in a certain amount of the time. Like, you know, out of 10 times, you can maybe expect it to kick in once or twice or 3 times, depending on the level of that. And then basically, depending on how rare it is for the power to work, it gives you a discount on the power. So since it's against 2 things, I've got my little sticky note here. And that tells me that I typically set this for 2 to 3 as extremely common. So instead of paying 15 points, it's paying 6 points. Unlike Dragonite, it doesn't have like an immunity and then like a bunch of other things. So it's actually not eating up its points as much. Then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just give it a... This is a really big boss that's got to fight off the entire team. So let's go ahead and give it a 50%. So normally when it's got like the conditional modifier on there, it will go ahead and just apply whenever I tell it to apply, and I don't have to like double up like this. But since I'm actually playing with it actually properly, I'm using it the way it's intended to be used and actually doing the full cost here, basically. Energy and physical. There we go. So that costs it 90 points, but that means that basically it's only taking half damage. And oh yeah. So these are the more recent looks for Mewtwo, the 2 new forms that they gave it a little while ago. Actually, this was Gen 6 and they're up to like Gen 9. I think these designs are 10 years old now. Damn, time flies. But so, oh yeah, what abilities does it have? Oh yeah, it's only got pressure and unnerve, which neither particularly translate very well into this system. Yeah, there's ways I can think of to do pressure, but they wouldn't be... The fact that everything is converted into power points the way that I'm doing it would actually kind of just negate pressure anyway, so I'm not even gonna bother with his abilities. Let's see, decent defense. Yeah, decent defenses, really high special attack. So going back to my sticky note. Let's see. I made Dragonite 10 and 12. I'm gonna go ahead and make this 10 and 10 then. And then we're gonna... So resistant protections are for like stopping swords and blades and guns and knives and stuff. And then regular defenses are for stopping basically everything. Resistant protection stacks against regular protection when stopping a punch, but then regular protection doesn't count at all if it's stopping something that only hits resistant protection. So we're gonna go ahead and just put that right up near the cap. And basically he's gonna be relying on this resistance here to ensure that he's like actually tanking the hits. Because if you put these up too high, you risk making it so that people just can't do damage at all, and then that ends up being a little unfun. So I'll give him a little bit of endurance. And then for body, he's a boss. He's got to have a ton of body. I like to go like 50 body for bosses. And then we'll go ahead and go like 25, or yeah, sorry, 50 stun for bosses, 25 body for his body. If you hit 0 stun, you're knocked out. If you hit 0 body, you're bleeding. If you hit negative, your max body, you're dead. And he actually has pretty decent attacks, so I'm going to go ahead and put that up to 25. So he'll need to do some like martial arts to like actually hit the bottom, the floor of where I have damage set up, but you know, that's okay. He's got a ton of points. Honestly, I have so many extra points here, I may as well just spend them. And speaking of that, he is fast as fuck, boy. So he's going to go ahead and get a 25 speed. Like I said, that's really fast. And then he's a boss. Everybody's going to be pummeling him, so he needs a ton of constitution. If you take more stun damage in a single attack than you have constitution, you get stunned and you lose your next turn. Really not fun. Intelligence. It's Mewtwo. What's a good... Yeah, we'll go ahead and put that up to 23. Ego. Ego works as defense against mind control and stuff, so also this needs to be really high. And presence, he's a boss. He's really big and scary. He needs a ton of presence. And then that leaves speed. So 130, that's pretty fast. And then he's a boss, so I'm going to go ahead and give him an extra point of speed because he needs more turns when he's outnumbered so he can compete with a whole team of players. And let's go ahead and give him a good recovery too. If you take a recovery action, you get that much endurance and that much stun back. So skills. So I don't forget again, I'll go ahead and start with these. Give him Breakfall. That's sort of the counterpoint to acrobatics. If you get hit hard enough that it sends you flying, you can use Breakfall to not get knocked over. Because if you get knocked over, then you have to spend half your action to get up, and that can eat away at you being able to do things. Defense maneuver. Yep, defense maneuver is the if people are surrounding you and you're fighting multiples of them, you're fighting like, 4 people, like Mewtwo's probably going to be, defense maneuver is the thing that prevents them from getting bonuses to hit for surrounding him and like just trying to pummel him. It prevents flanking bonuses, I think might be the most tabletop way to say it. Knowledge skill, knowledge. I'll give him knowledge dark types too, because actually, you know what? Knowledge ghost types, because dark type wasn't around when he was made, so I'll just give him knowledge on the ghost types. Because they're supposed to beat him. They don't, but they're supposed to. Or at least they didn't. Due to a glitch, Psychic was immune to Ghost in Gen 1. You know what? We'll go ahead and give him Rapid Attack, because like I was talking earlier, didn't really fit Dragonite, definitely fits Mewtwo. Before I do anything else, I should save him. Big Boss. Go ahead and give him a science skill. He was made in a lab. Oh yeah, and he made a whole bunch of clones too. So yeah, he's got a genetic skill. And stealth, just because might need to be sneaky. Survival, because he's in a cave. And I'll give him one for urban too, just because. And then finally, I'll give him tactics. Anything in here that I want to put in? Talents and perks are sort of like, they're little things that you could simulate like by building them out of powers, but they're not really, they don't really have like a well-defined effect, basically. Like one of the perks is literally a follower, which is just a whole ass other character that you buy with your own points. How many points does it? Yeah, it looks like it's like 6 points per point into the follower. But Mewtwo goes it alone, so he doesn't get that. Let's see, do I want to give him any... Psycho Cut really his only physical move? Let's see what he's got for Psychic. Man, he's so psychic, he learns Psychic twice. He doesn't really have any good physical moves. There's not really any reason to give him martial arts, I guess. Okay, then in that case... So the reason I didn't give him any improved running is the same for Dragonite. I'm just going to give him Flight. He's not going to be as fast as Dragonite. I'm not going to give him the massive non-combat multiplier bonus. But the base I typically put things is 20. I'll go ahead and put him at 24. And I'm putting him at an even number, specifically because hexes are 2 meters long, so it really makes more sense to put him at an even number. And you know what, actually, that costs him no endurance to move around, basically. He can just sit there and float as long as he wants. And let's see, what other ability... Okay. Oh, there it is. Light screen 6/6. What is that? Ah, okay. So we'll go ahead and give him light screen. Actually, did I... Maybe I should just give him barrier and then just call that light screen. And does he even learn light screen, actually? I would have thought he'd learn light screen. doesn't learn Light Screen. Oh, yeah, he's in ZA. He's in the last game that came out. Psych. Oh, yep, there's Reflect and Light Screen.
Alright.
And you get out of here. I don't need to buy any AI. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and give him a barrier that's going to be both Light Screen and Reflect together, and we're just going to call it Barrier. Because they got rid of that move, so I can do whatever I want with it. And so making it 6 long means that it's 3 hexes wide. And it's only 1 hex tall. And dismissible. Give him 12 charges of that. So, you know, somebody shoots something at him, he can hold out his hand and block it with this, potentially. Oh, right, actually. So... Also, let's see, what do I got? One-way transparent, so he can shoot through it, but people cannot shoot back. And there's the real strength of it. So he can basically just make cover for himself whenever he wants. So those two, so that plus all of his resistance and everything is going to give him a ton of survivability. And then we're going to go ahead and give him Psychic. And we're going to make it a Mental Blast, meaning that it deals normal damage, but it doesn't actually deal body damage. Normally a normal damage attack does like a ton of stun and then a little bit of body. But since it's a mental blast and it only like affects somebody's mind, it can't actually do the mental or the body damage, the actual health damage. But it's really good for knocking people out. You know what? We'll say this affects humans too and buy an additional class of mines. Let's see. So the equivalent... So I want to go ahead and put this right at the cap for damage. Go ahead and only give it 8. I want to go ahead and put this right at the cap for damage. Let's see. So that would be 12 d6s, which is like 60 points. Let me just make a blast here real quick to check it. Yeah, okay. So cost-wise and relatively speaking, this should be roughly equal to a 12d6 regular blast. Most Pokemon don't have mental defense, so whereas a blast would have to go through like all of these, like their energy defense and stuff, Mental Blast just hits straight up. Though, speaking of that, actually, mental defense, because it's Mewtwo, he's Psychic type, he's gonna have some mental defense. And we'll go ahead and throw it at a 10, he should be pretty resistant to it. Psychic is Psychic. Then let's give him Psycho Cut. Just so he's got something doing some PD. Oh, what? Psycho Cut isn't ranged, right? It's not hitting anything across the field, right? Nope. Okay. Yeah, so this is a hand-to-hand attack then, basically. And 4d6 is right at the cap for the campaign, more or less. So this is going to be his something's in his face, and he's got to hit him hard move. What's the bonus effect on Psycho Cut? What else extra does it do? Increased critical hit ratio. Okay, I normally simulate that with armor piercing. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit weaker. Yeah, so this would be equivalent to a 9d6 regular blast, by the way that like the game calculates out the cost, or calculates out the damage. Or should I do 3d6? Yeah, you know what, I'll just do that. 3d6 plus 1. So that's equal to roughly a 10. So he's got something up close and personal. And speaking of blast, I'll go ahead and give him Swift. And let's see, Swift, physical or special? It's special, so I'll leave it on the ED then. And it's relatively weak, which, so my floor is 6, and I'll go ahead and make my relatively weak an 8 there. And give it a whole heap of charges, give it 12 charges. Probably won't, go through that in a fight. Area of effect. Line. Let's say, okay, so how long can this get? Yeah, so a 16 meter long wide, that is 16 meter long wide. 16 meter long line, that is 2 hexes wide. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and see if I can shrink that. Yeah, 3 hexes wide, 6 meters wide. 3 hexes wide, 6 meters wide. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I am screwing up my speaking talky talk. And actually, thinking about it, Hyper Beam. I'll put this right at the max, because, yeah, right at the hard limit for the campaign. I'll give him 4 uses of it, and then extra time. So basically, this is going to eat his entire turn, and then he has to just stop the next turn to recharge afterwards. And I'm going to make this also a line of about the same size. You know what? Actually, we'll go ahead and make it even bigger. This is like 30. Yeah, there we go. Massive attack. Massive, massive attack. Yep, this is straight up over the point limits, but whatever. He's the big boss. He's got to have something in there to really teach them young kids a lesson. So more or less they don't. The hopeful thing is, so in Hero System, the higher speed you have, the more turns you get per turn. So like for the typical Pokemon, I've had them around 3 speed. For something particularly speedy like Sneasel, I've given them like 4. Mewtwo is particularly speedy, and it's also a boss, so I've gone ahead and put it to 5. Depending on how things are shaking up when I'm finishing him up, I might go ahead and put that up to 6, honestly. Which would mean that if he were fighting two other people and he had 6 speed, he would have as many turns as the players would. And then on top of that, because he's throwing out these big strong attacks, he's got a good chance to stun them and make them lose turns. So he can use the Hyper Beam and basically lose his next turn and open himself up to that. But if he connects with it, whoever he's hitting with it is going to be really hurting, and they're probably going to be losing their next turn. And since it's an area of effect, he could hit 2 or more players, in which case, most likely, they're all losing their next turns, and that really hurts their ability to potentially gang up on him and beat him up. Before I forget, I just saw Swift, so I didn't make the actual other half of Swift. The other half of Swift is, I go into here, combat skill levels, these are accuracy buffs and such. With any single attack, Swift. So this is just the accuracy buff to really make sure that Swift in particular doesn't miss, and now it's getting a +10 to its roll. +10 in Hero System is absolutely massive. This is probably never going to miss. Oh. Most interesting ruler mechanic in Hero System? Probably complications. I've heard it said that a well-crafted player character backstory is like a finely crafted knife that you lovingly forge and then hand to your GM with reverence, so that whenever something gets boring, he can take that knife and stab your character with it. Complications are a really good way to just basically force you to make a well-crafted backstory that kind of forces that. I'm only using them for vulnerabilities for like type disadvantages here, but there's so many other ideas, like a dependent NPC for like, you know how Superman's always saving Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, that would be a dependent NPC. Same for like Aunt May. Social complication for like the mutants and all that they're dealing with. Psychological complication for Batman's no-kill rule. I see in the bestiary there's a lot of physical complications because, you know, you've got a lot of animals that don't have hands. That's a physical complication. So and then these complications unlock more character points for you to use to build your character. So it actively rewards you for giving actual mechanical, exploitable weaknesses for a character. Hey, thank you for checking out the stream. I hope you have a good day. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up Mewtwo here. Let's see. What else do I want to give him? You know what? I already gave him Swift. Swift and Aura Sphere. Oh, well. Small group of attacks. There we go. I remember my hotkeys. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a pretty strong blast for Aura Sphere. Have I been putting my types? I don't think I have. Oopsie. Let's go ahead and give this to him at an 11. Not at the soft cap, but still a really strong attack. Yep, nope, didn't give other things their dues. Oh well. Psychic attack. Let me see, what else can I give him? I've given him a killing attack, given him a bunch of blasts. Blasts of varying types, so he's got some good coverage. Not a whole lot of coverage, though, but, you know, good coverage. He gets Ancient Power. I feel like of all Pokemon, Mewtwo should be one of the ones that doesn't get Ancient Power. It's kind of in the same classification as Porygon there for me. But I guess it makes sense because it is a clone of one of the most ancient Pokemon, so I guess it has its abilities. So in that case, we're gonna give it Ancient Power. And we're not even gonna make this an attack. We're just gonna make it a massive boost. OCV. Should I boost DCV? Boosting OCV boosts his accuracy. Boosting DCV boosts his chance to dodge, which, while cool and makes him much more intimidating, also could lead to the potentially frustrating moment of, oh hey, we can't hit this guy. So we're not going to do DCV. We are going to do speed. Yeah, we're basically just making the Omni boost here. OCV, speed, dex, on, body, stun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just going to go ahead and boost a ton of his abilities, including his health. Actually, you know what? No, let's not do body and stun. Don't want to do PD and ED either. Just trying to balance, like, the lore of the ability versus what's good in a fight. I'm thinking, like, ego and intelligence might... you know what? Let's go presence. And... recovery. And we'll make this really strong. And you know what? We're just not... This isn't even... Well, yeah, should be. Should be limited by charges, but... I'll go ahead and make it limited by charges, but then I'll also make it cost endurance. Or should it cost endurance? Nah. There we go. So he's got the Omni boost right there, basically, to make himself even stronger. Then... where's healing? Healing. Recover. Body, stun, and endurance. Just to make it... It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but whatever. That makes it a little bit better. And I don't want to give him too many charges of this, because, you know, it's always frustrating when you've just about got the enemy down, and then all of a sudden, they're hitting you with a full restore. Speaking of full restore, actually, should I go ahead and make this also heal, like speed and dexterity and stuff in case somebody hits him with a, like a thunder wave or something? You know what? Actually, I think that would work, because then that forces him into the state of having to waste a turn, and you know, it undoes the boost, but it gives the players more wiggle room to try and win over him. Stun, so speed. What other things will it possibly lose from getting hit? From getting hit by these attacks. Body, it can lose from Will-O-Wisp and like poison. Stun, it can lose from poison. From how I've made poison, I mean. And then strength is the other thing that typically gets hit by those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so this is expansive, but only giving him 3 charges of it. So he's not recovering a whole lot from it, but at the same time, he's recovering to a ton of different things. Actually, you know what? 2d6 isn't a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead and just pump that up. There we go. But we'll limit him down to 2 charges of it, just to make it a little bit less frustrating when he keeps popping it over and over again. And let's see, that puts him at 799 out of 800, which I think is right about where I wanted him to be. Didn't end up giving him any martial arts, and he's got Psycho Cut anyway for that. So yeah, possibilities to flip around in the future maybe, or like other things I could do. Maybe give him like Earth Power or something for different coverage here. He's kind of just got a ton of normal attacks. And it's got a little bit of utility here between the barrier and Swift not being able to miss. Or at least, well, it's not that it's not able to miss, it's that it's got like a plus 20. And it's able to hit multiple targets at a time. Actually, since I gave him Rapid Attack, should I even... My thought is maybe I should just take Swift off entirely and then give him something else in its place. And then he can be swinging out Aura Spheres in place of that, more or less. And there's Flamethrower, that's cool. Well, I might do that in the future. You know, a little bit of a surprise for anybody who I use this on in the future. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and just give him... Well, we got this 1 point. What do we spend it on? Another point of Constitution, just so he's that little bit harder to stun. Okay, I think that's done for now. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you guys had a great time. I hope maybe I taught you how to use Hero System a little bit. Maybe I gave you a little bit of interest in playing Hero System. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe on YouTube if I did. Farewell.